Joining me now here at the NFL Network studios is Steve Wyche, who has just told us this awesome story about how he grew up in Minneapolis. You have so many ties to the Vikings.
Grew up in North Minneapolis, off of Xerxes Avenue, not far from the Worth Golf Course. Used to go trick-or-treating at Carl Eller's house.
There you go.
When Carl...
what did he hand out?
Carl autographed pictures of himself.
Get out.
The best trick-or-treat. Here's a great Carl Eller note. His daughter, Cinder, is a police officer here in Inglewood, California, who I have met. So, 6 degrees of separation.
Seriously.
Here.
That's so cool. And I know, we have been grieving the death of our legendary coach, Bud Grant.
Yeah.
Someone that you grew up watching in those days of being a Vikings fan early on in your youth. What will you remember most about Coach Grant?
There's a lot of things. As a little kid, he was just iconic. They played at Old Met Stadium, where I would go see their games outdoors, and would just see him out there coaching those great teams. My favorite player ever is Chuck Foreman, with Fran Tarkenton, Carl Eller, Alan Page. But then about 3 or 4 years ago, I went to one of his million last garage sales and sat with him for a long time.
Oh, wow.
They had like big speed boats and stuff out in front of his house for sale and everything. But we rekindled just a lot of the conversations about some of the things when I would go down to Mankato and see them in training camp and things like that. So just he was a serious man, but just a legendary coach who just so many people respected for his toughness, his frankness, with the fact that he coached those guys to succeed and didn't let anything deter them, whether it was the weather, whether it was the opposition. It's just, again, I love the man. I love those memories.
Yeah. Did he give you permission to share any of his stories that you shared with him?
That would be no. So those will not be shared here.
That is for you and him alone,
That's right?
That's right.
I'll take that to my grave with me.
Well, let's talk about these current day Vikings. Coming off a 13-win season, what are their chances of repeating as NFC North champions?
Well, they should. I mean, look, not just because they were good last year, right? Not just because Kevin O'Connell went in there and changed kind of the culture there. But, you look at the division, Detroit's on the come up. Green Bay losing Aaron Rodgers, they look like they're going to take a step back. And Chicago's still on the rebuild. But I think the Vikings, this is like, I won't say it's their final run, but with Kirk Cousins at their quarterback, I think it's kind of, let's go for it right here. Let's push it and see what we can get out of this group before maybe we retool a little bit, right? They're losing Adam Thielen. They're doing some things offensively to change up a little bit. Hopefully Dalvin Cook can stay healthy because they go as Dalvin Cook goes. But I think they've got a great opportunity just because of the way they built a different foundation last year with a lot of existing players to make them believe they're one of the best teams in the NFL.
And now they have a new foundation trying to form on defense.
Yeah.
Hiring Brian Flores as the new defensive coordinator. Where do you think he can take this team that obviously struggled on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, last year that was clearly the Achilles heel. They just weren't consistent. He's going to put in a certain toughness that's, look, every team thinks they're tough, but he's going to come in there. You saw what he did in Miami. The foundation he laid there with some talent that wasn't fully developed. You got a lot of younger talent, just a physicality that he is not going to waver off of. Like, if you're not tough, you're not going to see the field. And you're going to be disciplined in a way, and they're also going to be multiple. They're going to give some 4-man looks, some 3-man looks. So there's going to have to be some versatility with the personnel right there. But Flo is a tough guy. They're going to know that just from the way he looks at them in team meetings. But he's also a flexible guy. He's young enough to understand the way players operate today. So that's the side of the ball that has to be better. And Brian Flores is an absolutely golden hire by that Vikings organization.
A way that you can get better at defense is obviously through the draft. We've seen the free agency frenzy and the moves they made on defense. Now it's draft time. What is the biggest need for this Vikings team?
Wow. Look, they're picking 23. So now there's going to be the possibility of one of these cornerbacks being there. I'm not sure of that possible. Some guys are going to get pushed back. There's some edge rushers there that might just be too hard to pass up. Again, some of the defensive interior guys, you're going to have players at two of the three key levels at corner in the secondary and possibly up front. I just think it's going to be the best one there. But if you can get an elite edge rusher to go right there, and they've got some guys there, but you can never have enough.
Yeah.
I think that's where they'll go, or one of those stud interior defenders, whichever of the two ranks higher on their draft board. I think that's where they'll go.
Is there a name you see fitting either of those positions at 23 that you think would, I guess, fit well into a Brian Flores defensive scheme?
Man, he's an interior defensive guy. They really like, the big-bodied guys right there. You caught me in terms of name, but
Sure, no.
But I'm just trying to think of some of the bigger interior players right there. I don't think Jalen Carter for Georgia is going to slide down that far. But there's going to be, again, I'm sorry for blanking on some of the names.
You're good.
There'll be a bigger athletic interior defender, like you saw what he did with Christian Wilkins down in Miami. That type of athletic interior defender that they'll fit in there.
Yeah. Full disclosure, we didn't give Steve the questions ahead of time,
That's
so
all right.
I really am just
now you know I'm not always
surprising
prepared.
him like that.
I'm not a draft Nick.
Sometimes it's really hard to stay team specific on all of them. So many names in the draft to think about and that kind of stuff. So I get it. I totally get it. But we appreciate you reminiscing with us about Minnesota and the Vikings and sharing your stories.
I'm gonna go put on my 44 Chuck Foreman jersey right now.
There you go. We'll let him know you say hello.
There you go.
For
Absolutely.
sure. Thank you so much, NFL Network Steve Wyche.